Thanks for tuning into this ACC Network live stream, everybody. Dave Benz on the call as we bring you the second game of the season for both of these teams. Idaho State controls the opening tip 1-0 after coming off a win against Arizona Christian in decisive fashion in their season opener, 91-52. The Cal Golden Bears, meantime, on this very floor, they were impressive in getting their win against St. Mary's on Monday night, 90-58. And an early foul here to get the festivities started. And you might see a lot of pictures today of a lot of young kids in attendance. The Schoolhouse Rock has been going on for 10 years now, and they bring in a bunch of students from Bay Area schools throughout the East Bay in nearby communities to Berkeley, California. And they do pack and rock the house on Schoolhouse Rock Day. So the Bears get their first offensive possession. Twidale coming off a career-high 24 in the game on Monday, unable to get anything to go there. And Idaho State already exceeding what St. Mary's did here on Monday night. St. Mary's led their game against the Bears for all of 15 seconds, and then it was all Bears after that. This Idaho State team, they do have some veterans in the lineup, so don't be surprised if they show some tenacity here against the Bears team that should be the Vegas favorite. And a contest and no good for Sophia Cavello. And here come the Bears. Kayla Williams kicks it out for Twidale. And we're going to whistle before the shot is away. They're going to call an offensive foul on Kayla Williams. So an early whistle on the starting guard for the Cal Bears, and Idaho State will get the basketball back. Your starting five for Idaho State: Elise Aby, Nika Lokitsa, Piper Carlson, Sophia Cavello, and Hallie Wright. The Bears with Michelle Onya, Kayla Williams, Marta Suarez, Lulu Twidale, and Ioanna Krimili. Bears being very active, trying to come up with the basketball. It does squirt free and finally taken by Suarez. Off to the races. Suarez will kick it out. Krimili looking for a three, a little bit too strong, but a second chance here for the Bears. And here the crowd wanting that first bucket of the game, and they'll get it courtesy of Krimili. Picking up right where she left off the other night. 4 of 7 in the win over St. Mary's, including a couple of daggers late. Not daggers in terms of deciding the score, because the game was well in hand, but daggers in terms of just her showing how tough she's going to be all season. The NCAA women's active leader in made threes. And Idaho State, a one and done. Twidale for Suarez, unable to get it to go. Onya an offensive board, and she gets grabbed underneath. She'll get a chance to go to the free throw line. And that foul is going to be on Piper Carlson. That'll be her first. Michelle Onya, I'm going to give her a shooting foul on that. She did try to get into the act of shooting, but they say no foul on the floor, so it is just baseline out of bounds. Feed underneath for Onya again, and this time Onya cashes in. Idaho State does not offer a lot of size. They only have 4 players on the roster that are listed at over 6 foot tall, so size could be an issue for this team, not only tonight, but all season long. And I say tonight, obviously it's a morning tip. Forces, habits are hard to break, and an offensive foul here on a clear out. That's going to be on Piper Carlson, so that's going to be 2 quick ones on Carlson. Idaho State 11 and 19 each of the last 2 years under head coach Seton Sobolewski, who's in his 17th season on the bench. And I had a chance to talk to coach before the game. We're going to get a call here going against the Bears, so the basketball will go back over to the Bengals. And Sobolewski got a contract extension from Idaho State in the summer, despite having 2 11 and 19 seasons. He's had a pretty good year, though, in his 17 years there. 3-time Coach of the Year in the Big Sky. He's had some injuries to deal with. Each of the last few years, they've gone into their conference tournament with only 7 healthy players. They're hoping to have a different outcome this year. And we got a whistle here. And that's a carry going against the Bengals. So they are just giving up the basketball right now. First turnover of the game for them. Excuse me, third turnover of the game for them. Onya, the feed inside for Suarez, and she gets wrapped up on her way to the rack. That is going to be the fourth foul here of this first quarter against Idaho State. So Cal will go into the bonus the rest of this quarter. And Suarez going to the free throw line right now. Able to knock it down. Suarez with 17 points in the season opener against St. Mary's. Started all 34 games for Cal last year, led the team in rebounds. And knocks them both down from the free throw line to get this Bear lead up to 6. Bears showing some pressure here. And it pays dividends. Krimili with the intercept and hands it off to Twidale. And the Bears now with 5 points off 4 turnovers by the Bengals. And Cal continuing to keep the pressure on. They force another turnover. Idaho State having a tough time holding on to the basketball right now. Seton Sobolewski will go to his bench. Maria Diaz on the floor for the first time for the Bengals. 3 no good by Twidale. Knocked out of bounds, last touched by Idaho State. Cal with 20 still on the shot clock here. Last time these two teams met, you've got to go all the way back to 2009. Cal won that game by 57 points, 100-43. They'd love more of the same today. Sobolewski is saying that Cal should have been called for perhaps a foul there, but they do get the basketball back nonetheless. And now it's Sharman Smith going to her bench as she welcomes a couple of reserves on. Natalia Ackerman, you just saw there, and Lulu Twidale, excuse me, not Lulu Twidale, but Lola Donez has come on for the first time. Donez, the freshman out of Hawaii. I talked to Coach Schmidt last night. She is so impressed with what Donez has brought, especially on defense, and you saw her right there, really not letting Maria Diaz have any room to operate. Cal the other way, into the corner, Krimili for 3! And Krimili making it look easy. The Bears lead is up to 11. 12-1 advantage, a 12-0 run for the Bears after the Bengals scored the first point of the game. Timeout being taken on the floor. We'll step aside for a moment as well. Cal right now cruising early against Idaho State. The pressure from the Cal Bears forcing 5 turnovers from the Bengals. They've turned those turnovers into 7 points. The Bengals have only gotten 3 shot-ups, and they're going to turn it again over to the Bears. Williams from Krimili. And the hemorrhaging continues, much to the delight of all the youngsters in attendance here at Haas Pavilion. Bengals have gotten 3 shots up. 3. Diaz for Covello. Or Elder in the game. And that is last touched by Kayla Williams. So the basketball will stay with Idaho State with 9 on the shot clock. Zara King, the freshman, coming on for the first time this morning, along with Jada Noble, as Suarez and Williams check out. Zara King still looking for her first career field goal. She did get a free throw on Monday night, so she does officially have a point as a Cal Bear. One of the top-rated recruits nationally. joining the Kel Bear program this year out of New York City, coming all the way across the country. Nicole Bland and Tyler Trimble and Chuck Gonzalez, your officials here this morning. Not sure what the delay is, but Chuck just had an explanation to the Bears bench, and here we go. They get it into Haley Wright. Wright's not recognizing the shot clock, and finally hoists it up, but time expires. A shot clock violation, another turnover against Idaho State. 9 turnovers in under 5.5 minutes. If this rate continues, I'm gonna have to look for the record book to see what the Bears' record for forced turnovers is. This has become a clinic. And Zara King unable to get it to go, but she takes some contact, so she'll head to the free throw line. A couple of substitutions coming on here for Idaho State as Casey Spink checks into the game. Elise Aby also comes back on for Idaho State. King unable to get it to go. King, one of the freshmen that not only is she highly rated, but Sharman Smith told me last night she's going to be counting on to be able to provide some significant minutes for the Bears during the course of this season, and that's why it's so valuable to get them the minutes in these non-conference games when there's not a lot of pressure like they're going to be facing when they get into the conference schedule against ACC opponents. Strong take and make there by Lokitsa. Nika Lokitsa, the sophomore out of Croatia for the Bengals. Finally gets the first field goal of the game for Idaho State. Lokitsa played in 27 games with 14 starts as a freshman a year ago. Can't get that to drop. Offensive rebound, though, by Casey Spink in his second chance here for the Bengals. Lokitsa trying again. That time can't get it to go. Rebound is pulled down by Jada Noble. Krimili on the drive, and she'll head to the free throw line. Bears 2 for 4 so far in this game from the free throw line. Ioanna Krimili, this is her 6th season of Division I college basketball. And this is the last year people are going to get that extra year due to COVID. Played only 9 games her freshman year for the University of San Francisco Dons in the 2019-2020 season. The ill-fated 2019-2020 season. And Krimili money at the free throw line. She's already got 7 points in the game. A whistle and a travel. Another turnover by Idaho State. If you're Seton Sobolewski, you gotta be reaching for whatever hairs are left on the top of that head, as it is not the way you wanted this thing to go. Turning the basketball over, you're not really giving your team a chance here. And the Bears also a really good rebounding team. They show it right there, an offensive rebound. King looking for her first bucket, and she has her first bucket. First career made field goal for Zara King. What the Bears are hoping will be the first of many. And the lead balloons to 15 points. Diaz for Spink. And we're going to get yet another turnover on an offensive foul. And the whistle going on Aura Elder. Elder is the tallest Idaho State Bengal. She'll check out. That is 11, excuse me, that is 10 turnovers now against the Bengals. 11 points so far on the turnovers for the Bears. They'll look to add to that total here. Williams and Onya back on the floor now. King. Williams drives right down the heart of the paint. Can't get it to go off the glass. And we're going to have a whistle coming in. And that foul is going to be on Michelle Onya. Michelle Onya clearing out, kind of trying to pave the way there for Williams, so she'll get called for the whistle. It's going to be the second foul of the game on Onya, so she quickly is going to check out. Gabrielle Abigor checks in for the first time in this game. Michelle Onya, that's been the one issue with Michelle, is can she stay on the floor? She stayed on the floor just fine against St. Mary's here on Monday, but she can be foul prone, and that is going to be an issue that the Bears are going to try to navigate all season long. Meantime, struggles at the free throw line for Spink. She gets just 1 of 2. Cameron Mafua, the freshman, on for the first time in this game. King, no. Can't get the second chance to go. Out of bounds, last touched by Idaho State. Tell Bears after this one, they'll go all the way down to San Jose State. About an hour drive south of Berkeley to take on the Spartans this weekend. And then a more daunting road trip in terms of both geography and level of competition when they go to take on Gonzaga at Gonzaga to finish off a 2-game road trip. Williams showing off the handle, couldn't get the finish. Ball is free. Spink able to come up with it. And Williams trying to put on a one-person pressure cooker right there. Unable to make anything happen, but we're going to have a whistle here going against the Bears. And that foul is going to send Casey Spink to the free throw line. Bears are over the limit, so free throws here for Spink, and she rattles the first one right off the front of the rim. 1 for 3 for Spink from the line. The Bengals are just 2 of 6. That foul was on Zara King, and that's a point of emphasis for these officials this season. They are going to really call touch fouls a lot more this year. That was a big point of emphasis that they wanted to pass along to all the broadcasters before this season got underway. They want freedom of movement to be at its maximum peak here this season in women's college basketball. Mafua unable to get the 3 to drop. Closing in on the final minute here of the opening quarter. 3 ball away for the Bengals. No. Rebound pulled down by Noble. The Bears hurried up the floor. King, and a blocking foul as Casey Spink tried to get into a position to draw the charge, but did not get set. And instead, it's going to be free throws upcoming here for Zara King. That'll be the second foul of the game on Spink. She'll have to check out. Zara King, the biggest question for her coming into college basketball is how quickly can she make the transition? And if you caught any of our ACC network broadcast on Monday night, my analyst for that game, Theo Robertson, he was talking about that Zara King reminds him in a lot of ways of Brittany Boyd-Jones, who had such a stellar career for Cal and then played in the WNBA and was back in this building as part of the St. Mary's coaching staff on Monday. King will check out. Final minute here of the opening quarter. Haley Wright into the corner for Lokitsa. Keeps it on the floor, puts it up, can't get it to drop. And knocked out of bounds, last touched by Idaho State. Cal could get a 2-for-1 here if they hurry. They don't really seem like they're all that worried about it. Mafua picks up the dribble. Noble, that bounce pass for Abigor inside. And Gabrielle unable to get it to go, but she draws a foul. And Gabrielle Abigor heading to the free throw line and looking for her first points in a Cal Bears uniform. So chance for the Walnut Creek native to go into the record book with her first Cal Bear points. Out of Berean Christian High School. Walnut Creek right down the road from Berkeley. And Gabrielle pushes the Cal lead to 16. And the Bears are still setting up with some pressure here. Let's see how much they exert. And they'll back off. Just a little token show there. Diaz takes it right down the paint, puts it up with the left hand. No, second chance. Up and in for Aura Elder. It's only the second made field goal. Twidale. Are you kidding me? Everything going right for the Cal Bears here on Schoolhouse Rock. Lulu Twidale making us a part of your day. Still in the morning here on the West Coast, 11:30 a.m. local time for this 11 a.m. tip. Mafua unable to get her three-pointer to drop. The Bears were 3 of 8 from three-point range in that opening quarter. An opening quarter that literally had everything. We had a delay in that first quarter that wasn't really sure what was happening, and Chuck Gonzalez, the lead official, had to say something to Sherman Smith. The drive here, and Mafua, great job defending without fouling, as the Bears will get yet another stop on defense, and trailing the play to come up with the basketball is Hallie Wright. A rare positive moment there for the Bengals, who've really struggled to string together any positive moments. Wright, no. Offensive rebound and second chance try just rattles out for Carlson. And now bodies going to the floor, and a jump ball, and the arrow is going to favor Idaho State. So anyway, Chuck Gonzalez went over to Sherman Smith in the middle of that first quarter when there was a stoppage. Really, we weren't sure what was going on. And he came over to me during the timeout and said, what happened was, this is just so bizarre for me to even say, but a fan threw a pepperoni on the floor, like an actual pepperoni, you know, not just a slice. So pepperoni somehow got brought into the arena and was thrown onto the floor. So the Bears have been warned, if anything else gets thrown onto the floor, they will be assessed a technical foul. And there was an announcement made in the arena not to be throwing things onto the playing surface. I asked Chuck Gonzalez, who told me that he's been officiating major Division I college women's basketball for 30-something years. I said, have you ever had a pepperoni thrown on the floor before? He said, never a pepperoni. So you never know what's going to happen when you come to a game. Thankfully, everybody's okay. Somebody is short their lunch, however. And I don't think these kids seem too concerned. The snack bars are open here at Schoolhouse Rock. Anyway, Bengals trying to see if they can just kind of whittle away at this. Instead, it's going to be a travel. Hallie Wright dragged the pivot foot. And just another turnover for the Bengals, who just continue to give the Bears extra opportunities. Krimili. Work it around to Donez. A nice little scoop pass to Suarez, a great cut and a great set play. Ackerman knew exactly what Suarez was going to be doing. The Bears executed that perfectly. Right. Gives it up for Diaz. Okitsa will stop and pop to watch it drop. Second bucket of the game for her. She's the only player for Idaho State with multiple buckets in this one. And the Bears, meantime, just doing what they do. Work it inside to Ackerman. Tell you, Ackerman, the senior out of Watsonville, made every field goal attempt that she had in the game here on Monday. Bengals actually stringing together multiple made buckets here. Get it back to a 17-point game. They're finally in double figures. Ackerman the feed. Twidale mishandled. Suarez took a look at the shot clock. Kicks it into the corner. Donez three is long. Carlson underneath. Unable to get it to drop. Nice job of defending without fouling again by the Bears. Suarez. Got a whistle away from the basketball. I believe we're going to get a 3-second call here against the Bears. Natalia Ackerman did not cleanse in the lane, so it will be a turnover against Cal. That's their 5th of the game. Right. Being guarded pretty tightly there. Hallie Wright, nice little wraparound pass to find her teammate Piper Carlson. Foul here on Idaho State as Krimili gets knocked to the deck. She will go to the free throw line where she's 2 for 2 today. Bears have attempted 10 free throws in this game already. Knocks down the first. Krimili, when she's on the court, it just feels like everything is organized for the Bears. Doesn't get easily rattled, seems to do everything at a high level, organizes the team, but there are so many players on this Bears team that you could say that about. That was one of the things Charmin Smith talked to me about last night, just about the balance of this team. And when they're playing their best basketball, it's going to be hard to pick a quote-unquote player of the game because they're going to get contributions from everybody, like Ackerman, cleansing the glass right there. Suarez put the dribble out a little bit too far, and Wright was able to pick her pocket, and then a reach-in foul. Anastasia Drusini with the foul, getting her first action of the season. She was a little bit banged up and not available on Monday. Anastasia, a freshman all the way from Greece. This Cal Bears team is well represented internationally, as are the Idaho State Bengals. They have 6 international players on their roster. AB for Lokitsa. one of those international players out of Croatia. Lokica, no. Defensive rebound, squirts out to Donez. Krimili. That was a good rhythm three by Krimili, but she's unable to get it to go, and then bodies get tangled up in the paint. And the foul does go against the Bears. Bears have committed 3 fouls so far, just one on the Bengals. That foul was on Suarez, her second. Corner three is good, and the Bengals needed that in the worst way. Out of Elise Aby. First made 3 of the game for the Bengals. Krimili trying to get it right back, just a little bit off. Boy, she hasn't missed by much. Krimili has missed her last 2 3-point tries, but they both were off by a millimeter. Bengals have it back to a 14-point game here. A chance maybe if they can get this thing down under 10, single digits going into the locker room at halftime. They feel a lot better about the way things went. We got a tie up here. And the foul is going to go on Elise Aby. That's a tough foul call for your Aby because she went up, she had the basketball, but just Michelle Onya a little bit stronger and a little ball. And not only are they getting college basketball, they're getting the day off from school. So it's a win-win if you're an elementary student here in the Bay Area. Out of the timeout, Bears turn it over. Tell you what, Idaho State slowly climbing back into this game. Sharman Smith is not going to be happy with her team at halftime if they don't turn this around in the final 3:30. Aby for Carlson. Shot clock down to 7. And the jumper by Aby, no. Follows her own miss. That won't go. Casey Spink somehow comes out of there with the rebound. Spink, baseline. That won't drop. The Bengals have gotten some looks, but they're just 6 of 24 from the field in this game. Onya inside, misses from point-blank range, follows her own miss and gets it to go. Maybe just statting the rebound stat line. Bears would love a spurt here to give the Bengals nothing really to feel good about going into the locker room at halftime. Lokica off the dribble, throws up a little bit of a wild shot. And a loose ball is corralled. Look at a jump ball. Possession arrow favors Idaho State.
Lulu Twidale.
Earlier in the broadcast, I mentioned the road ahead for the Bears at San Jose State, at Gonzaga, then back here for 2 games till they'll host Grambling, and then the big one everybody's been looking at, November 22nd here at Haas Pavilion against Auburn. That should be a whole lot of fun. We'll have that game for you on ACC Network. The 3 is away, and the 3 is good for Hallie Wright. And it's down to a Baker's dozen. Cal's largest lead was 19 at 28-9. Williams pulls up just beyond the free throw line. That won't fall. Rebound squirts out. Onya tried to tap it back, but it's corralled by Covello. Carlson into the corner. That 3, boy, that would have been big for the Bengals had it gone for Covello. Krimili. Nice job by the Bengals there to fight through the screen. Stay locked in on D, but the Bears working around the outside. Twidale, no, Onya. And Onya traveled, and I was waiting for a whistle. I thought Michelle might have also possibly got called for an offensive foul, kind of clearing out with that elbow. Fortunately for her, it's a turnover either way, but fortunately for her, it's not a personal foul. But not being crisp at the end of this quarter. And another chance for the Bengals to cut into this deficit. Spink, no. Well, if the Bengals are not going to be able to shoot the basketball at a higher clip than 20-something%, they're going to struggle to be able to find a way back in this game. And then that might as well be a turnover, a one and done, and then Twidale just tickles the twine on the other side. Seton Sobolewski will have to call a timeout as the Bears get another big three out of Lulu Twidale. Take another look at it. Twidale, without hesitation, dropping that down. And you think about this Bears team, what they brought back from last year. Krimili, Suarez, and Twidale, they combined to knock down 144 of the school record 282 threes that the Bears made last season. So you've got over 50% of your three-point weaponry back this year. That's going to be a big barometer, big thing that the Bears are going to try to use to be able to win games this season. Their proficiency from three-point range. Now the Bears going to some pressure defense here out of the timeout. Spink does get it across the timeline with not much time to spare. Covello. Spink. Carlson nearly threw it away. Shot clock down to 4. Hallie Wright hands off the hand grenade. AB has to fire it. And it's going to be another shot clock violation, the second of the game against Idaho State. And the first shot clock violation ended with the ball in Hallie Wright's hands. And even though she wasn't the last to touch that for Idaho State, she handed off what we like to call a hand grenade, because that thing was about to go off. And just got to be better clock awareness for Idaho State. Shot clock is now off for the Bears, who would love to close out this first half with another bucket. Twidale has it knocked out of bounds with 4 seconds remaining. See what they got for a baseline out of bounds play here. Twidale, corner three. Misses everything. Twidale still has time for a second chance. So she ended the first quarter with a three, nearly ended the second quarter with a floater. The afternoon now, and the Cal Bears looking to build on this 16-point halftime lead with the basketball first to start the second half. Cal was actually outscored 12-11 in that second half. And I mentioned towards the end of the half, Sharman Smith, no doubt, with some things to talk to her team about at halftime. You felt like the way that game was going, that they could have gotten the lead up to the high 20s or maybe even the 30s, and then suddenly it just all cooled down. So we'll see how they respond here out of the locker room. Krimili for Twidale, and Lulu with the strong take and make. Lulu Twidale, 24 points in that game here on Monday. Strong start to this one here as well. Carlson unable to get it to go. Three the other way for Kayla Williams. Touches every part of the rim and falls through. So a 5-0 spurt out of the locker room here for the Bears. Casey Spink, who came off the bench for Idaho State in that first half, gets the start for the second half. Carlson contested by Suarez. Marta Suarez, fairly quiet here this morning, hasn't needed to do much. Twidale for Onya, can't get it to drop. And the Bengals come out of there with the rebounds. Covello. Allie Wright for Carlson. Right back inside, and a whistle as Spink drives inside. And if that's on Onya, no, it's not going to be on Michelle. Foul's going to be on Lulu Twidale. Onya was also there, but foul on Twidale will keep Onya on the floor because Michelle has 3 personals. And the free throw by Spink is good. Spink rattles in 1 and 2. Tell you what, Michelle Onya, a lot of contact right now going down between her and Aura Elder in the post. And they finally are going to get Elder with the whistle. And Sharma Smith telling Michelle Onya not to get rattled by that, and she did not, to her credit. So Elder's going to have to check out. Idaho State comes away with the basketball, though. And here come the Bengals. AB on the drive, baseline, misses everything. Up the floor for Suarez. Little dish pass inside, and she finds Natalia Ackerman. Bears push the lead to 22. And Williams, Spink telegraphed that pass. That is the easiest interception Williams will have all season. The Bears give it right back, though. On the deck for Covello. She'll dump it inside. Carlson, no. Follows her own miss. Goes to the floor. No whistle. Bears come out of there with the basketball. Twidale inside, and what a finish by Suarez. Great teamwork there by the Bears as they share the basketball for the Bears. And Kayla Williams looking to finish off the end one at the free throw line. 7 points in the game for Williams. Bears have 2 scorers in double figures, Lulu Twidale and Ioanna Krimili, each with 10. Williams a chance here to get to 8. It's been very balanced so far here this afternoon for the Cal Bears. And Williams knocks down the free throw. Zara King will check in for Williams. And the Bears showing some pressure here. Idaho State's already turned it over 13 times in the game. Most of those were in the opening quarter when they had 10. And the feed inside by Elder. Excuse me, results in the bucket by Elder, not the feed by Elder. Twidale trying to get it inside to Suarez. The Bengals come out of there with it. Lokitsa. And Lokitsa takes the contact and finishes. Twidale tried to set up and draw the charge, but the officials weren't biting. Back-to-back buckets by the Bengals here. Twidale for Jada Noble. Krimili drills the triple. Ioanna Krimili knocked down a couple of them from outside in the first half. Idaho State. Pizza had that ball deflect off the leg of a Bear. They don't call a kick. Krimili. They're working around outside. Zara King. King's three just a little bit too strong. Suarez with the rebound. Second chance opportunity for the Bears. The three will not drop. And the rebound pulled down by Idaho State. Cal with an advantage on the glass, although not as decisive of an advantage as they might have expected going into this one. 31-25 on the glass right now in favor of the Bears. Another timeout on the floor. It is a 26-point lead. We'll step aside. Back to Berkeley in a moment. Back here in Berkeley, the Bears out of the timeout. We'll try to see if they can keep the heat on the Bengals. The three is good by Hallie Wright. Krimili looking to answer for three. Took some contact, and they're going to call the foul here on Hallie Wright. So Krimili's going to head to the free throw line for three.
To the line for the Golden Bears. Number 21, Ioanna Krimili, shooting three.
Krimili, 13 points in the game. Bears 10 of 13 at the free throw line in this game. Make it 11 of 14. That foul on Hallie Wright was her second. Krimili misses from the free throw line for the first time. Rattles the second one in. Lulu Twidale will check back in. Jaden Noble takes a seat for the Bears. Bears coming off a 19-15 season a year ago. Season that ended in the WNIT. Boy, that was awfully close to a backcourt violation. It looked like Diaz had dribbled the ball on the center court line. Donis takes the basketball away, though. Donis in transition. Suarez from the wing can't get the three to go. Back to Donis. 15 turnovers in the game by Idaho State. Krimili calls her own number, and the number is three. Bears fans loving what they're seeing out of this Golden Bears team out of the locker room at halftime. 17-8 in favor of Cal here in this third quarter, and they take the basketball away yet again. Suarez for King. Feed into the post for Abigor. Not quite sure if she was really ready for it. And King overthrew her a little bit. It'll be the 11th turnover of the game by Cal.
For the Golden Bears, returning number 14, Cameron Marfula, replacing number 7, Marta Suarez.
Checking into the game is Priscilla Varela, making her first appearance today for Idaho State. Nicely executed play, not a good finish though, as Carlson throws it off the rim. Here come the Bears. Abigor, a lot of contact underneath, and they're just going to say out of bounds, last touched by Idaho State. And now another substitution being made here by Seton Sobolewski, the head coach for Idaho State, 17th season on the bench. And not saying he's waving the white flag just yet, but I think at this point he wants to make sure he gets some of his players some experience here. Sobolewski knows this gym quite well. He was an assistant coach at UC Riverside another lifetime ago before taking the job with Idaho State. And talking to him before the game earlier today, he was reminiscing about being in this building against some very good Cal Bear teams back in the early to mid 2000s as an assistant coach at UC Riverside. Gabrielle Abigor rattles in the free throw. All of her points in a Bears uniform have so far come from the free throw line. She's a perfect 4-4 from the free throw line in her Bear career. Donnas and Williams trying to turn up the heat. Donnas gets a hand on the ball. Idaho State does get it across midcourt. Flirts with the turnover. The three misfired there. Second chance. Carlson comes up with a basketball, but she stepped out of bounds. So Idaho State gives it up yet again. The Bears with 18 points off turnovers in this game. 17 fast break points. They've knocked down 7 triples in this game. Twidale inside for Abigor. And Gabrielle Abigor has her first made bucket as a Cal Bear. Idaho State the other way, and that's just a turnover that you can't afford to have happen. We were in the replay, you didn't see it, but a bounce pass to Piper Carlson went right through her hands. So make it 17 turnovers in this game for Idaho State. Mafua, the freshman, on for the Bears. Twidale, three is good. Make it 8 threes in the game for the Bears. And Cal turning up the pressure, forcing Idaho State to take a timeout. It has ballooned to a 35-point margin here in Berkeley. 62-27. We'll take a timeout. Back with ACC network coverage in just a moment.
I want you to get loud and give me AC! Give me loud! Give me loud! Who will lead? And who's you win?
Back in Berkeley, you see the fans loving it. Schoolhouse Rock as area school students invited to this game. And I thought it was just elementary school, but there are some high school students here as well. So all levels being represented from the East Bay schools nearby Berkeley. Final minute of the third quarter. Idaho State drives inside, and offensive rebound is corralled by Diaz after she missed her own shot. She couldn't get either of them to go. See if the Bears can get a 2-for-1 here. Twidale feeds it for Abigor inside, and the doorstep drops. Thought there might have been a margin left between the clocks, but there is not. So Idaho State can take the final shot here of this quarter. They do not wait, however. Williams ahead to Twidale for three. And how about Mafua? Cameron Mafua working the glass for the second chance bucket. And that was a textbook quarter by the, in nearly 4.5 minutes. And if you're Seton Sobolewski, you just want something to be able to take out of this game before you go down to Southern California to take on San Diego in your next game. And Twidale takes some contact, thankfully able to get right back up. That looked like she might have fallen a little bit awkward, but smile on her face. First team foul on the Idaho State Bengals here in quarter number 4. Last time Idaho State was in this building, Seton Sobolewski, he was the head coach. It was early in his coaching career. I didn't ask him about this before the game. I probably should have, but he probably doesn't want to remember it. The last time Idaho State was in this building, it was Cal 100 and Idaho State 43. So the questions for both sides, I suppose, can you avoid, if you're an Idaho State Bengals fan, can you avoid having it be that lopsided of a loss? And if you're Cal, you want to see, can you eclipse how big of a win that was? Can you hang 100? You put 31 up on the Bengals in the third quarter. Not sure they're going to get to 100 unless they really start lighting things up. But they do get a stop. Twidale. We're going to whistle on a foul here as Twidale draws her second personal of the quarter. That one's going to be on Elise Aby. Third foul of the game on Aby. Second of the quarter here on Idaho State. Nico Lokitsa checks back in here for the Bengals. Kayla Williams, catch and shoot. Three won't drop. Rebound by Hallie Wright. Wright. AB, the bounce pass for Carlson. Unable to get it to go. And the Bengals are able to come back up with the basketball. I'm not sure what the call is here. I think it was just the referee blew the whistle for whatever reason. They're going to inbound the ball with 28 on the shot clock. If you're looking for a bright spot for the Idaho State Bengals in this game, the one thing that might jump out at you has been the work on the glass for Piper Carlson in this game. She hasn't taken advantage of her second chance opportunity. She's 1 of 10 shooting in the game, but Piper Carlson has come up with 7 rebounds, and that's a big part of the reason why the rebound advantage has not been as lopsided as the Bears might have expected. Piper Carlson has been doing some work in the glass for Idaho State, so that is something for Bengals fans to feel good about. The sophomore out of Albertville, Minnesota, suburb of Minneapolis. Asked Seton Sobolewski before the game today how hard it is to recruit to Idaho, and he said, oh man, it is not easy. He said they do have, as Mafua knocks down the triple, her second of her career. Sobolewski said, hey, they do have tens of NIL, you try saying that, NIL dollars to spend, tens, not tens of thousands, tens. Bear lead, the largest of the game. Nice take inside there in the finish for Diaz. Mafua for Twidale. Onya, who had early foul trouble, not a factor in the outcome of this game, able to get it to go. Nice move by her to get free. Nice patience offensively with the basketball. Didn't rush, waited for the opportunity. Diaz gets the screen from Carlson, who rolls to the basket. Diaz will take it and make it. Diaz, a team-high 7 points for Idaho State. Feet inside. Boy, that was a dangerous pass, but Onya makes it look good as she skies for the basketball and gets the dime for Williams. Throws it in between 3 defenders. That was really, really scary, but she played it well. Donez, meantime, comes up with another turnover. Williams for 3. And the Bears, for the second straight game, have knocked down double-digit triples. Now 24 makes overall in the season. Hallie Wright gets stuffed by Mafua. And when you see the reaction out of this crowd, they are having themselves a ball right now at Haas Pavilion. Lukitsa gets it to Valera. Lukitsa, shot clock down to 6. She'll turn and fire over Williams, no good. The Bengals shooting under 25% in the game. Twidale loses the basketball, but it works its way into the hands of Onya. I talked about Piper Carlson on the glass, though. I mean, she's really been active, nearly came up with the basketball for the Bengals. Varela for Hallie Wright. And we'll get a whistle here away from the ball. We're going to get a foul on Donez for holding. So I don't know how much longer Hallie Wright's going to stay on the floor. So I'm going to get this nugget out there in a lopsided game while I can. Hallie Wright, I go through the game notes for every team and their media guide before every game. And I look for like little nuggets. So Hallie Wright in her bio says plays the ukulele. And she comes up with a rebound right on cue. A little scoop shot, no. Onya clears it. So, of course, me being the really curious broadcaster that I am, as the jumper, the mid-range gets dropped down by Jaden Noble, I pulled Hallie Wright out of the warm-up line prior to the game. And I said, I got to know more about this ukulele. I need more ukulele. And Hallie joked, and to her credit, she really didn't stop running the layup front line, so our conversation took place over a number of rotations. How about that? Zara King, the steal and the bucket, as she gets the lay-in to pad this lead. So Hallie Wright, through about 3 rotations of the warm-up line, tells me that she does still play the ukulele. She does not bring it on road trips, but she learned to play it a few years ago for her grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary in Hawaii. And she has continued to play it. So there you go. Not a lot. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say there's not a lot of D1 college basketball players in either the men's or women's game that play the ukulele. We got a tie up here and a jump ball in a 50-point game. Possession arrow does favor the Bears, and we got some wholesale substitutions. And how about that? Hallie Wright is one of the players that's going to check out. 7. Could the number be even bigger here today? Both coaches going deep into their bench here. Varela comes up with the basketball, can't get it to go. Last touch by Cal. On the floor right now for Cal, King, Donez, Mafua, Josuni, and Ackerman. And Varela, Coleman, A.B. Carlson, and Covello on the floor late in this one for Idaho State. Seton Sobolewski not quite as deep into his bench as Sharman Smith at this point. And I have a hunch we'll get even deeper here in the next couple of minutes. Bears force yet another turnover. 21 turnovers in this game by the Bengals. Nice feed inside, and Ackerman has another bucket. Natalia Ackerman is a perfect 5 for 5 on the season shooting the basketball. Release 80, gets tied up. Basketball taken away by Ackerman. And they do call the personal foul. Thought for a second they might be calling a jump ball. They did not. They called the foul on AB. Abigor is going to check back in for Ackerman. Zara King. We will get a jump ball here. So Cal, after this one, I mentioned Saturday at San Jose State. Another Bay Area rivalry game as they go to the South Bay to take on the Spartans. Schedule this season does feature 5 teams that were in the non-conference schedule, I should say. Features 5 teams that were in the NCAA tournament a year ago, and many more that are in the conference now, with them being in the ACC. Carlson gets tied up as she goes for the drive. So basketball right back over to Cal. Elder is going to check back on here for Idaho State as Lokitsa also checks back in. First appearance today for Sophia Bose, who's on the floor. Cross-court pass, Donez looking for the 3, and Donez remains stifled from downtown. She's played so well defensively. That was her 3rd try from outside the arc, and she's yet to get one to go down. Lokitsa into the corner. And that 3 is good for Covello. It's only the 4th triple of the game, though, for the Bengals. King draws the foul, and Zara King's going to head to the free throw line. So the Bengals have it back sub 50 for now. It's a fine line if you're Sharman Smith, right? Because you want a decisive win. You want a lot to feel good about, but you don't really want to flat out embarrass anybody. And right now people are looking at this score and not a lot to feel good about if you're an Idaho State fan. But the Big Sky Conference is going to be very competitive, and Seton Sobolewski has won the Coach of the Year there 3 times, and he's gotten his team to the NCAA tournament. He's got a lot of pieces that he feels good about, so this could be the kind of road trip that maybe can get them to gel before they head into their conference play. A tie up here as the ball goes to the floor. Abigor reaches. So baseline out of bounds play. And, you know, this is the kind of thing, too. If you're average fan, you're looking at it, it's a blowout. What can you work on? You can work on something like a baseline out of bounds play. Nothing really developed. They had time, so you're not forcing anything. But it's a good chance as a coach to be able to have teaching moments, have the players pick things up that are going to help them later in the season. And on the other side, Charmin Smith, she wants to get minutes for some of these players. Get these reserves some minutes that might be valuable down the stretch. And, I mean, these kids don't care. Look at how much fun they are having here. They are having a ball, and hopefully they're going to tell their parents, hey, let's go back. I know Charmin Smith, in my conversation with her yesterday, said, hey, we want as many people to get on this bandwagon as we can get. Bay Area is not necessarily a big college sports area. It is definitely pro sports teams here first, but there is an opportunity for great teams to be able to capture the imagination of sports fans, especially young ones. Nice teamwork to get the ball into King, but she gets tied up before the tie-up. She went into the air with the ball and came back down. That's why it's a travel, but I think she wanted to shoot it, and she got tied up as she was going up with it. Maybe the last offensive possession for the Bengals. And they should get one more crack at it. They give the basketball back. That'll be the 24th turnover of the game. 24. 30 points off those turnovers for the Bears. And make it 32. And the lead back to 52. Donez, Dean up there. Elder. Lokitsa with the drive. Last touched by the Bears. So 5.7 is all that separates the Bears from being 2-0. Finally does get it in. Varela. Step back. No good. And that is all she wrote here in Berkeley. The